Today's great episode is another in the series about mindset. We've talked about before why mindset is so important in my opinion. Today's episode talks about limiting beliefs, what they are, how you can identify them, and of course how you can overcome them. Limiting beliefs, I believe, play a part in all of our lives. They can be quite negative if you don't identify them and don't try and control them and overcome them. So great episode talking about limiting beliefs. As always, like and subscribe on the Wrestling with Real Estate, the YouTube channel. Go to the WWRE podcast, give me a 5-star rating and write me a review if you think it's worthy. And I'm looking to speak to as many of you as possible. I love talking about real estate. I love talking about mindset. So if you want to speak about any of these things, please sign up in the link below, or go to wrestlingwithrealestate.com. There's a link there. So enjoy today's episode on mindset and limiting beliefs. Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we look to chokeslam, all your real estate problems. I'm your host, former WWE wrestler, and now Cirque du Soleil performer, and of course, multifamily real estate investor, Barri Griffiths. Now today we have the mindset Mandy McAllister with us.
Hi.
How are you doing today? How's it going?
I was living a dream, Barry, you know?
This is actually the third one. I'm not going to try and fool anyone. This is the third one we've done in a row about mindset. Yeah. We're wearing the same clothes. It might give them away. We love this stuff. It's really cool to us, and we love the mindset aspect of real estate and everything, and life in general, right? Because it's so important to us, we feel like, and I think it should be important to everyone. So we just wanted to talk about it, maybe highlight some points that might help some people.
Mm-hmm. I think this week we should be talking about limiting beliefs, because right on the tails of authenticity and, you know, the importance of mindset, I think that there's self-imposed roadblocks that happen to everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what's going on. There might be a belief, a thing that you truly believe at your core that is holding you back. Mm-hmm. So Barry, you know, tell me, what's a limiting belief? What do those mean to you, and how have you worked to overcome them in your life?
Yeah, this one's a huge one. This is one I think is very important, especially to me, right? Limiting beliefs is kind of a little bit of self-talk to some degree. Right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of what it's the stories you tell yourself, right? And the stories maybe other people have told you that get you to that limiting beliefs, right? I can never be this because, right? I can never do that because, right? It can be whatever it is, right? But those are beliefs in your head. You believe them, right? They're limited, and they limit you to only doing certain things because of that. And I think it's so important that we understand that these exist. Everyone has them. I guarantee you, every single person has them. Some people might have a lot more of them. Some people might have less of them, but we all have them for sure. And I think it's important that we understand that we have these limiting beliefs. And then from there, you can try and understand what those limiting beliefs are. And once you can understand what those are, it's then easier to overcome them and maybe eliminate them completely.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen overnight, but the belief didn't establish itself overnight. Mm-hmm. So the real first step is figuring out what it is. I've got a kind of a benign example, but when about 10 years ago, I decided I was a runner. I would play volleyball, you move that far and you're done, right? So the idea of a 5K just messed with my brain. But I like identify as an athlete. My friend who wasn't terribly athletic was like, we're running a 5K, come with us. I'm like, well, it's the whole Roger Bannister 4-minute mile thing, that when you see that it can happen, you can potentially break through that limiting belief. So then I did it, and I did it more competitively than I thought. So I tried to go further. And for whatever reason, I kept telling myself, I can't run 5 miles. I cannot run 5 miles. And then I just decided, like, that's stupid, right? And I just ran the 5 miles, and it was off to the races from there. So, you know, we talk about actionable steps in these tag team mindset conversations. And I think for me, first step in any limiting belief is you got to define it. You got to figure out what it is that is the ceiling that you keep butting up against. And then from there, you know, there's strategies like add some pain to it. if you're doing this 5, 10, 20 years from now, continuing to choose to believe this about yourself, what are you missing out of? What are you missing out on? What is your family missing out on? What is your children? What is, like, add the pain to it of what you're going to be missing out on. And it's going to be, you're going to look at it in a different light.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. That's actually the first time I've heard that. First identify, like you said, but then add pain to it, right? If you're going to keep doing this and keep living that life with this limiting belief is stopping you, right? What is it stopping you from achieving, right?
Yeah.
There's a pain behind it that hopefully will make you overcome it. My limiting belief, was with this podcast and with this YouTube channel. When I started it out, who's going to be on my show? Literally, honest to God, I didn't think that anyone would want to be on my show. Literally, I don't. Well, yeah. Literally, when I started, I was like, who's going to want to be? I haven't done that much in real estate. I'm starting out. I haven't done a podcast. I'm not a good speaker. That's another limiting belief, right? All this stuff. And I was like, all right, this is getting ridiculous now. I'm just going to reach out to people. And if they say no, okay, let them decide that they're not going to be on it, right? Yeah. I shouldn't decide at that point, right? That they're not going to be on my show. Let them decide. And I reached out to people, and pretty much the first 10 people, they all said yes. They all said yes, and we all get into, and I'm saying that story because a lot of people have told me I have an interesting story, and they were like, well, you should have no problem finding guests, right? But in my head, that didn't matter. I was like, no, this is not, nobody's going to be on that. So it just goes to show you that you've got to be careful what you think and what those limiting beliefs are, right? And one good way, I think, is to overcome limiting beliefs is to take action, right? And take your head on, right? If you're scared of heights, go jump out of a plane, well, with a parachute, hopefully. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Whatever it is, attack it.
Exactly.
Attack it. And then I think that's a great way to get over limiting beliefs. If you attack it, do what you're scared of doing.
Yes, run directly at it. I actually have a quote hanging up right here that says, avoidance doesn't extinguish fear. Action does.
Wow. Avoidance doesn't
extinguish fear.
Yeah.
Action does.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So you can't get rid of being scared by avoiding something. You can get rid of being afraid of something by running at it head on. It's I'm going to butcher the analogy, but it's like, when a storm is coming on the prairie or whatever, like the wild horses run directly into the storm, because if they run away from it, they're going to end up in the storm for much longer. If they run directly at it, the storm passes above them and they're in it for a much shorter time. So if you are scared of it, I am telling you, run directly at it.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that story. But also, and the thing is, a lot of times as well, what we create in our head is much worse than what it is, right? Oh my goodness. It's so, I had this same conversation with Dr. Jamil Sayaj, we both love it, and that's a cool episode in itself. But I was talking about how a teacher, right, will punish you, right? So if you do something wrong on a Friday, rather than punish you on the Friday, what they'll do is they'll say, I'll see you Monday.
Yeah.
Then all of the weekend is ruined, because you're thinking, oh my goodness, what's this teacher going to do? And you'll build this up in your head. And then Monday, the teacher will go, don't do that again. And then I spent all weekend like worrying about what this teacher was going to do. And I created this in my head, which was 10 times worse than anything the teacher could have done. And I think we do that selves with our limiting beliefs. I can't do that because, or I shouldn't do that because people will think this, And it's going back to those 2 episodes that we've talked about, I think will help here as well, is defining your values. So who you want to be and what you want to be and what you want your life to look like. And also then being authentic to those values, right? Being really, truly, massively authentic to those and not letting anyone else get in the way. And if you can help try and stick to those, I think you'll help also eliminate limiting beliefs, because you have those defining values and you're being authentic to those values. I think this is a good, third conversation in that series, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just want to add one more thing, that, if whatever you believe, as soon as you've defined that it's not working for you, then it's just a process for figuring out how to get past it. That there is a ton of growth and action and wins on the other side of it that it's not a thing to be scared of. If you're scared of limiting beliefs, run directly at them.
I like that. What, maybe before we go, maybe what are some quick actionable tips you see from this? You're great at giving that advice for some actionable tips.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, what's worked for me is it was actually in a full immersion seminar where we did that activity of just layering on pain on top of, what I have a 4.5-year-old son. If I choose to hold on to this belief that I will never find tremendous success because I'm a woman, or because I came from a farm, or because XYZ, if I choose to continue to believe this, what does that mean for the life I've built for my son? What does that mean for the example? Who cares about the life I've set for my son? Who cares about the example that I've set for my son? And I was, 20 years down the line, imagining this, 23-year-old kid who saw me never go after my dreams and chose not to go after his. And that ripped me apart. And that's when big things started to change for me, that I know, I can figure this out. And I think one more thing too is, when looking back, everybody can do this. Everybody's achieved something in your life, right? Like everybody firmly believe that. Look at those things that you're proud of and figure out a common vein of what you were able to do to make those things happen. And I realized that of the things that I'm proud of that I've done, odds against me or not, like I've always been able to figure it out. So that is my thing. So whenever I'm looking at a limiting belief, I look back to these things that I know I was able to figure it out. And I just look forward, and I think with some level of confidence, a growing level of confidence, that I got this because I got that,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. You've done it, not that thing, but you've done something already, right? You've been successful, and we all have stuff that we're proud of. I'm sure that we've all done stuff where we've been successful, where we've done stuff that people may have not thought that we could have done. Use those examples and use that confidence to move forward. I think that's a great piece of advice, and I love that. I think that's a great way to finish. Before we go, where can people get a hold of you and hear more about Mandy McAllister?
Best place to find me is mandymcallister.com.
Cool. I'll put that link in the description below. Another fantastic episode. Maybe you guys can, in the comments below, or if you want to reach out and email either of us and tell us a little bit more about some limiting beliefs that you have, stuff that you struggle with. And I think, we would love to hear about that and help in any way that we can. We love this stuff. We can talk about it all day. Cool. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry.